Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the RuneQuest rules by Chaosium Incorporated. This actual play is performed by adults and in an adult setting. Strong language, mature scenes, and rune magics are on the way. As this is our Glorantha, we will remind listeners that it may vary from the one you already know and love. And now, on to the show. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Old Ways Podcast. I am your game master this evening, Michael Diamond, and we are back with our adventures in Dragon Pass, our RuneQuest show. Happy to be a part of this with you. At the top of the show, as we always like to do, we'd like to thank you, the listener, especially you, the Patreon supporter. If you've not had a chance to check out what we offer, you can at patreon.com/theoldwayspodcast. And now I'm going to get to cast introductions to my right.
Hi, everybody. I'm Heather. My pronouns are she, her. I am playing Lysana of the Heraborn, healer, midwife, and initiate of the Blessed Earth Mother, Ernalda. All honor and praise to the blood that binds us, the ancestors that guide us, the earth that keeps us. And if that prisoner opens her mouth, I'm going to make sure she doesn't do that again.
Yeah, listen, she's a captured prisoner at this point. I'm sure that she won't cause any trouble. Next to Lysana.
All right, this is Jake playing Varghast, son of Gordanger, initiate of Orlanth, and the Rainbow Worm.
Fabulous. And next to Jake.
Hi, this is James, and I'm playing Finn of the River, the Rapscallion, and Ever Chaotic.
Indeed. Shifting as the water would be found. Next to Finn.
This is Morgan, and I play Alara of what is formerly Hillbase Dead. Our pronouns are she, her, and Alara is a devout cultist of Marangor and has a really pure hatred for Lunars and is ready to use that.
You're going to use your hatred.
I am.
Good. And last but most certainly not least.
Hi, this is Rena. My pronouns are they, them, and I am playing Faisal, any and all pronouns, an initiate of Humokt and of Heller, and I've made some new acquaintances.
Yeah, we'll stop short of saying friends because they're not really, my enemy of my enemy, I guess, maybe. Maybe it's a little nicer than that. You all did sleep around roughly the same campfire, and so there is something to be said for the communal aspect of not trying to stab each other when that was going on. So we're going to part the veil tonight and look in on a campsite early morning. And it is just before dawn. And in that pre-dawn light, there is something which rouses you, Finn, from slumber. And that thing is a squirrel. That squirrel has found its way into your pants.
All right. Well, it didn't start there, I assure you.
It's seemingly looking for warmth. It's burrowing its way up your leg, and I'll just sort of leave you to it.
All right. Finn probably awakes with a bit of a start, feels the thing crawling up his leg. Who is next to him?
Yeah, I'll say that Varghast is next to you.
Fantastic. Varghast.
What?
I need your help.
I'm not doing that.
Oh, no, okay, I need your help with something else. Listen, it's in my pants and it's furry and I need you to help me get it out.
What did I just say?
Listen, I'm trying to be as... Ow! It's biting too. Finn will do his best to try to smack the squirrel down out of the pant leg.
You see something reasonably large and furry shoot out of Finn's pant leg. It has a tail. And it bolts across the camp. When it does, it runs basically up the still sleeping form of the lunar priestess and then bounces off of, her head and into the ground and sort of runs towards the trees. She startles and wakes up and almost gets into like a defensive crouch at the movement, I would say that it's fair to say that a lot of our party members here are going to begin waking up. There's stirring going on. And she says something that's unintelligible behind the gag, but she definitely says something. And she's looking across the fire, or what's left of the fire, at you, Finn.
Finn looks at Vargas. You saw that? She tried to steal my pants, squirrel.
I saw that. I mean, you're the only one that deserves a pants squirrel.
Well, he's gone now. The moment has passed. And since we're all awake, and you and I are here, looks over at the lunar priestess. Is this gonna work, Vargas? Finn gets serious for a moment.
I really don't know.
Finn adjusts so his back is completely to the priestess. I don't trust talking around her.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't trust letting her speak at all. Filthy lunar magic and few words, and suddenly my pants is full of squirrels again. In fact, throws a side eye at the priestess. I wouldn't be surprised if that was her doing in the first place.
I really think it was just looking for a nut.
I don't know if I'm glad it was unsuccessful or not. I'm going to have to think about that one for a while. You hungry?
Yeah.
All right, I'll put some breakfast together.
Yeah, luckily there's still quite a bit of boar left last night after our cat managed to secure a fairly healthy kill. The meat has cooled a little bit after having been on the spit, but I mean, it's still something you could at least cut into and take something away for the morning.
Take some of that back fat with some of the meat and fry it up like some bacon.
So the smell of crackling bacon wakes the rest of the camp up. I think I'm wondering something a little bit about the differences between some of the characters here. I'd love to know what your morning rituals are like. Everybody has things that they do every morning. And for our Heraborn, you're sort of cut off from the normal flow of your day to day because there aren't fields to work or clay pots to make or a inner ring to help protect or your uncle Savan to learn lessons from, or your mother Lysana isn't around for you to help do midwifery. None of it. All that has been upended. And so this is like the second day really that you've been around with no sort of organization or schedule or day-to-day life. So when you wake up, what do you do?
Well, somebody's got to feed this sorry lot. So Finn probably takes to some of the cooking and probably sings absentmindedly while he's doing it. 55 in sing as a score. It's not terrible.
Any skill that's 50% or over, you're technically a professional at. So whether you choose to sing well is really up to you.
He sings very well to the best of his ability, but the songs he sings are generally bawdy tavern tunes that he's learned and picked up. Fairly, ribald.
Lysana, what about your morning?
Lysana would get up and probably go not too far away. She wants to be within range of the rest of the group, but just about 6-ish or so feet away where she can sit quietly, like with grass and the dirt and the earth, bury her hands in and basically meditate, pray, try to connect with Arnalda, with the earth, try to see if she is able to continue to make sure that the direction they're going is the correct one. See if what almost like gathering information to turn, seeing if there was any news through the earth vine, so to speak. What is the earth saying? What is the earth telling? Does the goddess have any messages to impart? To a prayer for those that have been lost, a way for her to mourn, as well as ask for strength, ask for guidance, ask for making sure that she kind of keeps herself in check from not going over there and doing terribly, horribly, dastardly, bloody things to taking out her rage, and that I'm sure that she still feels. She's basically trying to keep herself in check and trying to remember who she is. She is Heraborn. She is of Vernalda. She is of the earth. She is of the home and the hearth and life. As much as she wants to rip apart with as much prejudice the one focus that would be available to her to take out all of her rage and her grief and every negative feeling that she has until she can't bear it anymore and bathe herself in that woman's blood. So this is her way of grounding herself, gathering herself, and trying to be productive versus stabby.
Okay. So what that sounds like to me would be a worship roll. So it's a magical skill, right? It allows you to contact a deity. You're asking for assistance and in some regard. And so I guess my question is, are you offering any sort of material sacrifice, whether that be magic points to sacrifice during a ritual, or whether it be animals or plants? So that could be grains, breads, fruits, and in some cases, it could be a living thing to look for that sort of offering to give to hopefully get more.
I will see if I can hunt around. I'm probably not going to touch the squirrel that probably has run off, because I think that poor squirrel's been through enough at the moment. And I will look for I don't know, a small, rodent or something smallish that I could probably capture after I kind of do the first meditation and grounding, and then I'll go gather flowers. I'm sure there might be some flowers or some type of winter. Usually there's like winter flowers or winter berries, and see if I can find a small rodent to go with it. I don't know. There would be rats, shrews, small.
Yeah.
Something.
I think the winter flowers are probably something that you would be able to gain readily.
Okay.
It would give you perhaps a 5% bonus in the roll.
Okay.
Really what you're looking to do here is to show some sort of offering that you would give up in regards to it, to that worship of Vernalda and her bounty. And I think that's the mental framework that you're trying to put yourself in is the reason why they ask for you to give up something like bread, like something you have, is that you are sacrificing something that you have to the gods rather than like something you would use.
Right. So meditation to kind of ground herself and keep her from being stabby. And then gathering of wildflowers, coming back once, I'm sure by that point the fire is going well. And then if everyone had, I think we brought a few supplies, so she will find something appropriate like bread or some type of grain, and then bring that and say open prayers and then put that on the fire and allow that smoke to kind of bring her hopes and her wishes and her requests and her prayers up into, may Orlanth bring and have this, the ash from this settle on the earth and have the Earth Mother. May we find guidance and calm,
okay,
and control in our faculties.
It's just funny how she says, may we, not may I. But that's okay. I'm all for globalized prayers to goddesses. That's fine with me.
Well, I figure if once I come back to the party, I've done my personal my personal time meditating on my own, and then gathering, and then coming back to the fire where there's everybody. That's when I open it up to we. So because we're all part of a group, so we all need some of this. Not her, not that, but the rest of us.
Okay,
the rest of us are fine.
Go ahead and make a worship roll for me.
Okay. That is a 43 over 40.
Okay, so you take the bounty you have and you go into meditation and work with Arnalda to ground out the difficulties that you are working through. It is difficult for you to be so close to someone who did such damage to your family and understand that because they've been taken prisoner, that you all are in effect bound by honor to not do something. So I think it's fair to say that in bringing the offering back and sort of communitizing it with your fellow Sartorites, you get the distinct impression afterwards that Arnalda doesn't see it that way. That perhaps Arnalda views all life on her and in her is of her. And as much as you may chafe at the idea, Lunars are people too. And they deserve to feel the love that Arnalda has because she loves all living things. And maybe the takeaway for you in this moment after your worship is maybe this is a guiding lesson that as you exist now outside the veil, you're going to have to understand that you're going to come in contact with Lunars that don't have swords and armor and that aren't prepared to kill you at a moment's notice. And that might be tough for you, but there's a lesson here perhaps Arnalda wants you to learn. Jake, how does Varghast start his morning?
Well, this particular morning, I think he will give thanks to Orlanth and Shah for still being alive and free.
Yeah.
And then I will take a walk up to the road.
Okay.
I want to see where we're going and what's behind us and what's ahead of us. I really need time to think.
Yeah, absolutely. So based on where you are, based on the path that Faisal and the group and you sort of went down and then got off the road, you know that these trees here likely are going to lead in a couple of different directions. They're going to end up going northeast, and that there's going to be essentially a part of the road that comes ahead that forks. And so Good Fork, the village that's probably next on your list, it's there. It's a massive arable farmland space with a small city. And then really that's the road when you turn left that you would take to Boldhome. I think it's probably reasonable to say that Varghast knows that that's where the road goes because not only was, your uncle, your father, there were people within the Vale that had traveled before. You have likely seen sketchings before to know, maybe not to know exactly how they went, but okay, yeah, around this mountain pass, if I take this road and it forks, I go left and that will be the capital, Boldhome. So yeah, as far as how the road looks, right now it's empty. You're in sea season, and so that's a planting season. And you know that it is highly likely that the most you'll likely see are people out working the fields because everybody's got to eat. And on a normal day, you'd likely be supervising cotters, or you'd be talking to the different people in the stead about, what the plan for planting was. I mean, Alara and Finn would be running around their stead, with their parents planting. That's what everybody's doing. On top of that, you also know that there's this occupation going on. That parts of your land right now are under direct occupation. That there are lunar governors in places, and that there are lunar forces that are walking around. You, not but a couple days ago, watched a big lunar force walk into your backyard. So, where they went, the road might be able to tell you that if you get up to it and look. Maybe, an army, right. even at
it's going to leave signs.
Oh yeah, they have to, right? Because it's not just the army. It's all of the support wagons. It's all of the things that make an army go.
The animals.
You can't hide any of that.
Yeah.
Not long term. So, yeah. You probably get the sense from Shah that you need to get moving. That being here in the middle of what is effectively not an open field, but close to it, is not safe. And his voice comes to you in your time of, sort of assessment. And he says, there will come a time after you make Boldhome where we must reassess what is to be done with me. Now that I have been released, I have matters I must attend to.
Right. You're not my servant.
There's the deepest of chuckle from inside your brain. I am no one's servant.
Well, we'll deal with that when we get to it. First, I have to figure out what we're going to do here.
About the woman?
About everything.
The easiest thing to do with the woman is to sell her. Ransom her back to her people.
That's not going to be so easy. I can't just walk her up to the temple and ransom her.
Find an Asari's merchant to act as a mediator. They will take a small cut of your ransom, but it is far safer than approaching a temple of the Seven Mothers with a lunar priestess.
That is wisdom.
I offer it to you at no cost this
time. All right. I'll go back down after taking a look.
Okay. Yeah, Finn, we know what you're doing. We know that you're cooking. You have cut several pieces of this remaining beast. You have made both bacon, and then, of course, you're a little bit of fat, a little bit of, leftover, we'll just say oils, perhaps making the fat in here dance a little bit so you can get what you need out of the pan. So we know that you're doing it. I don't know if, let's see here. I'm certain that there's a role you could make for cooking. Not that we need to have a role per se. I trust that you don't poison your fellow Sartorites. Okay. I want to hear from everyone's favorite initiative, Marangor. So our cat is certainly pleased to laze around in the morning, but I want to know specifically from Alara what you're up to. How do you start your morning, and who are you setting on fire?
Well, first we're gonna set so our cat and I would rouse, and since I'm not going to be working the fields every day anymore as of right now, I would probably go on a run like I would every morning to stretch my legs, get a workout in. I'm not naturally this trim, it does take some work. And so I would go on a run. I would take my bow and arrow with me, and I would go hunt for a rabbit or two. One for our cat, even though I know our cat can probably hunt their own rabbit. And the other would be for me to do a sacrifice to Marangor.
Mm-hmm.
I try to do that fairly regularly. And I also realized I didn't make a sacrifice to her right before the Lunars came in, and maybe that's why what happened. I don't know. It's things I've been thinking about.
I mean, it's certainly possible that doubt would have creeped into your mind that you didn't prepare as well as you could have.
I was very focused on
Very, yes.
kill the Lunars.
Okay, so I am happy to award you after some time, because I think hunting for that sake in this case is a little a roll isn't as necessary. What I do think would be good is for you to make a passion roll. I think that can cover your
Okay. I get a 13 under 60.
Oh, that's a pretty good roll. So, you easily snatch up a rabbit. Our cat clearly can find and destroy a rabbit on his own if that's what he wants. And you gather what you need to make a sacrifice to Marangor. How and where are you choosing to sacrifice?
Is there any, I forget. I know we kind of bedded down in a field, but is there any woods or anything in the area?
There are woods in the area, yes. They're across the road. You can see the tips of some of the trees nearby. You saw Vargas go in that direction and then eventually come back. There are a couple of trees near where you're at, but their foliage is pretty light here.
Yeah, with kind of the gruesomeness that can happen with a animal sacrifice, not everybody looks too kindly on that, or might find it a little odd. So I will go across the street to the woods, and I will make my sacrifice to Marangor there. I will, slit the rabbit's throat and cut it down the center, and make sure that the blood gets all into the dirt, and jam my fingers in there and rub it on my face. I mean, if we're gonna do it, we are going to do it. And so I've got like streaks of dirt and blood down my face.
I would say that Marangor initiates, especially also priestess, really don't do half measures. That's not their way. So go ahead and make a. Do you have worship, Marangor, or do you have?
I do.
What's your passion associated with?
My passion. Oh, I did devotion. My devotion of Marangor is 60. My worship of Marangor is 20.
Okay.
It was way better with my 13. I got a 76 out of over 60.
Fabulous. So you get blood in your eye. Actually, quite a bit of it.
Wonderful.
And while you are trying to adorn yourself and become that vessel of Marangor's energy, you accidentally get like dirt in your mouth, and that's terrible. And you lose control a little bit of the sacrifice, like physically. And you have to, basically it's all the blood. It gets all of your hands. You make a complete mess of it. And now there's rabbit blood everywhere. Yes, it's in the dirt, and you've gone through this thing, but you just feel like, again, it didn't go the way you envisioned it going. You certainly feel warmer. And so you feel that influx of what you associate with Marangor, the heat that comes from beneath, that slow and steady building of warmth until there must be some sort of natural release. But you have to spend some time like clearing your eyes. And you're going to come back looking like like a new hire at a butcher shop.
Yes. There might be some frustrated grunts coming from across the street because I'm pissed off, but I don't want to scream.
100%.
So.
Yeah, you come back angry, basically, which isn't really out of Like I would just say for Faisal, who we're going to get to, an angry Marangor worshiper comes back. That's pretty normal. Oh, look, they're mad. Yeah. So after that's done, Faisal, how would you spend your morning?
So I've been up since the dawn. I always rise with the dawn, and sat by the fire, making my prayers to Humakt, asking him to guide my steps with honor today, and that should we engage in combat, that my sword will find its mark. And then I did some light exercises and stretches, gearing up for the day. And then since then I've been sitting by the fire, cleaning my sword, checking on my weapons, just getting ready for the day, and watching everyone else with an eye of interest.
Yeah, I think that you're getting a good flavor for the group.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely a dynamic here. The Gordangar's son is a little quieter than you expected. Usually Orlanthi men are very loud and boisterous and sort of have to be shushed half the time. That's usually the job of an Alden priestess, is to keep them quiet, because they're usually too busy telling everybody how great they are. The Marangor worshiper is spot on. Central casting. That makes sense. You're covered in blood and you're angry. Got it. The lunar priestess has been quiet, which disturbs you, because she's sitting there. She has not been offered food, nor is she taking any. And she's just waiting. She's bound. She's gagged. And she seems to be biding her time. Like she's got something to wait for.
I think perhaps we should be moving, everyone. Just keeping half an eye on her while I'm saying this. I've got a bad feeling. I don't think we should stay in one place.
Yeah, we're not getting anything done here anyhow. Let's go.
Finn packs up the last of it, kicks dirt over the fire.
You get set to break camp.
He takes a few of the last scraps of breakfast, the less choice chops that he cooked, and he walks over to the priestess. I'm going to take the gag out of your mouth so that you can eat food.
Lysana will definitely be probably about 2 steps behind you and to the side, staring very seriously at her.
Now, do not make me regret this.
She's just staring back at you, in your eyes.
Oh no. Please please make us regret it. Try at least.
Now, Lysana. Her blood is more valuable inside of her.
True. For the moment.
And she needs to keep making blood if she's going to be traded. So, food and drink. No words. Understand?
She nods. She doesn't take her eyes off of you.
He takes the gag out with one hand. Offers food.
She takes the food, in her bound hands. You're serving her basically what,
bread, a few pieces of older cheese, the cheese rind, and some of the half-fat boar chops.
Okay.
She's going to eat, and she's not going to starve to death on Finn's watch, but she's not going to eat well. She didn't treat us very well, so she's not exactly going to get the, feather down.
No, not at all. She tried to murder you. She eats. She stares very intently at you while she's eating.
Finn doesn't break eye contact with her either. He lets her have her moment.
She drinks and then says, "Where are we going?"
I think that's for us to know, and you will find out.
He puts the gag back in her mouth, tightens it, and says, "But we had a deal. I said no words." And he puts a sack over her head. Now, up, walk.
Okay. She gets up, starts walking.
Finn will walk in front of her and like 95% of the time we'll lead her around and over obstacles so that she doesn't trip and fall.
Sure. You're going to do that by hand or by rope?
Rope.
Okay. So you tie a rope to her bonds and then lead her while hooded. Okay. So I'd like to know what path you are taking there. Are we taking a more wilderness route? Are we staying on the road? It will matter based on how much time you spend to get to Boldhome.
I think it would be best if we did not spend very much time on the road.
Yeah, I thought we had agreed to stay off of the road because of any patrols.
Right. I mean, we are transporting a lunar prisoner.
Yeah.
So, minor trade roads?
Let's just be clear. There's one road. One. Choice is essentially wilderness terrain or a road. There's very little that's sort of in between. There are some, after you make the left past Good Fork or in front of Good Fork, there are farmland. And so you could cut through a bunch of farmer fields if you don't want to be on the road. You certainly know how you would feel if somebody caught you, you caught somebody cutting through their fields, but as long as you're not doing damage to anything, you should be okay.
Right. Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Okay. And then I'll ask, since we know where Finn is at this point, I'll ask who is leading the party and who is sort of behind and who's bringing up the rear.
Well, I'll lead the way.
Okay.
And I'll bring up the rear.
Okay. Fabulous. So let's see here. Sort of puts Faisal like in the middle.
Yeah, Faisal is behind the Lunar Priestess because I will attempt to catch her if she trips or falls, because I don't know what her history is with these people, but I do know she is a prisoner, and any harm that comes to her reflects on us, and I am part of this group at the moment. So I'm there to prevent any injury.
Okay.
I don't like it, but I'm there.
After a few hours, Finn will take the hood off. No more words, or the hood goes back on, okay? And, it is ripe in there. This might have been my fish bag.
So I think I'm going to cover this with you, Vargas, as a homeland lore roll. Either that, or I will take survival. Dealer's choice.
I think I'm going to go with Homeland Lore.
Okay.
Slightly better at it than...
Now, as this is a new session, it's important to remember that you have your ability to be inspired by runes, and runic inspiration is a thing, which you could do to help augment skills which are lower.
I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to use my rune air. I'll see if I can't listen to the winds.
I'm happy to give you a suggestion.
Okay. Yeah, you do that.
So I think you have the right idea in that you would know that you are going to be going up in elevation. And so you could listen for Orlanth and listen how the wind changes based on where it's going. And Boldhome is in the mountains. And so the wind trailing up the mountain might be something which might lead you towards it.
Right, that works. That is 25 under, it's been a while, 90.
Oh, for your air rune? Sure.
Yeah.
So you are inspired by the air rune. You can gain 20% to whichever roll you make next.
And that's 39 under 60.
Okay. So the plan is to stick to off the beaten path.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this route does take you a little longer than it normally would because you're going through rough terrain. You don't have the benefit of the road. The difference is that you help make up for some of that time lost based on charting a stable path, places that have good footing. You do skirt around a couple of farmers' fields. You use sort of the back spaces of them to stay close enough, basically within sight of the road, but not break cover. And so you get into some pretty thick trees along basically along the northeastern pass as you come around those hills. You're basically skirting the side of a mountain. And in doing so, you get close enough to see in one of these spaces, you see an inn, like coming up in the distance. It's on your left. You don't have to stop, but you can see that there's clearly a structure there. And you can also see that there are what look like perhaps a horse path that leads there, that sort of thing.
Storyteller, is it cold up here since we're up in elevation?
It's a little cooler. Yeah.
A little cooler, okay.
Yep.
Is there smoke coming out of the chimney area of the said inn?
Indeed there is.
Fantastic.
There is.
Looks over at Vargast. I gotta say, I wouldn't mind a few minutes next to a fire and perhaps something in my belly to warm it. Other than, lukewarm boar.
Yeah, well, there's bound to be a lot of eyes in there.
That's true.
At least some of them are going to be in the employ of the Lunars.
Yeah. But then again, we also have to figure out how to trade her at some point.
I have an idea about that.
Yeah.
I was given some advice.
Well, do we want to send maybe you and Lysana to go get some things from the inn? Anything we need? I mean, it would be a bad idea to pick up some food.
Well, do you have any money?
Oh. You know what? I don't know, actually. Actually, Mike, do I have any money?
You probably, I'll say, I mean, it would be strange for you not to have some. So I'll say that you have 10 L's money, which is really not very much, but it's something that you've managed to.
All right. Well, I managed to scrape together some cash some money before we left. Don't ask where or from whom, but here, small pouch should get us something. Me and Faisal will stay out here with her.
Is that 10L for all of us or just him?
I mean, I don't know if it's for you or for all of you.
I'm just saying because I'm assuming most of us probably have some money.
Yeah, I'm sure that you probably have likewise some.
Just enough to get a few supplies. Okay, well, we got some money to get a few supplies.
Certainly. You have some things. You have some money, which you can get some things. Again, not penniless. Certainly not penniless. So the two of you are going to head over to this stone inn, huh?
Yeah. We're just travelers.
Right. You're just, just travelers, just hanging out.
Just taking a pleasure walk.
Yes. In lunar-infested waters.
We could be together.
Well, right.
I mean,
that's what we're going.
Yeah.
I kind of figure that's what we go with.
Yeah, we could go with that. I mean, wouldn't be far from the truth.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah. So, so the group is the rest of the group is going to sort of hang out and let them go do their thing. So you make this trek over to this small stone inn, and you notice a couple things as you approach it. There are a few horses that are outside, tied up. Right. Nothing with any sort of lunar markings on them. They're actually probably painted with like symbols of there's probably beast on them. There's likely the movement rune that are painted onto them. They look like Sardarite horses. Outside, there is a small stone altar and shrine to Orlanth Adventurous.
Okay.
Not your flavor necessarily, but certainly Orlanth. right? You're more Orlan Thunderous, but that's okay. It's Orlan. It gives you a good feeling seeing that, it hasn't been despoiled. There's a nice smell here, sort of wafts through the air. You can smell stew and other things that are cooking, and your stomach immediately groans when you smell food. So what are you doing?
We will go in. I'll lead the way.
Okay. It's pretty small, all things considered. You step into this space, and there's probably 2 or maybe 3 tables. They probably have 3-4 chairs per. It looks like there's a back area here that is likely where people sleep. There isn't even a bar per se that you would think of in sort of the traditional tavern sense, right? There is a cooking area. There are benches that surround it where someone might sit and eat food. And there are like flagons that are laid out, on a shelf nearby that they would probably serve you from. And there's a older gentleman who greets you as you walk in. Good day. He looks a little wary at first.
Good day. My wife and I are passing through.
Oh, praise Orlanth. Come in.
May Arnalda's blessings be upon you and your establishment.
Thank you. He nods, seemingly a little bit relieved.
We were wondering if you had any supplies you could part with. For coin, of course.
Certainly I can put something together for you. Are you traveling far?
Just to Boldhome.
Oh, not far at all. But
it's been a long journey, and anything you could provide would be most helpful to get us started.
You are certainly in need of food. He sort of looks you like up and down. Good to keep you healthy in these times.
Right.
I'll go and prepare something, just perhaps a few days to help get you through until you're there safely.
It would be much appreciated.
Our gracious thanks.
There's ale here. He points to the big clay pitchers. Please help yourself. Have a drink.
Thank you.
Wash the road out.
You are truly kind.
You help yourself to the ale that's here. It's I think as far as the type of ale for our listeners, so they can get an idea of it, it's likely it's probably a nice lager that you get. It's nothing too heavy, right? But you can see that he's got a couple of different sort of jars here and these pitchers, and there's definitely stuff that is darker on the way down. Probably left over from winter where they were drinking something more like a stout or a porter in exchange for breakfast.
The road looks like it's seeing a lot of traffic.
Yeah. He comes back out and you see him. He's got basically a satchel that has he's binding up. Yes, Kangarl and his ilk. They marched through here a few days ago and then right back out.
You don't happen to know what that was about, do you?
He looks at you a little cautiously.
I understand.
No, I'm certain you are no lunar. These strange oils. They were here a few days ago.
Were they?
Yes. Scouts looking for whatever they could take. Willing to pay prayers to the Seven Mothers. I made sure they got the stale. But no, there was this business of Pangaharo rooting out some of the farmers that were nearby.
Why would they want farmers? It seems below them in their mightiness.
Oh. The one thing the Lunars are good about is tax collection. Just after more money.
Figures.
He finishes the pack and sort of pats it. Now, there's a few loaves in there and some dried fish And then I managed to gather together a few sweeter rolls for the two of you.
We really appreciate everything you've done. Here, how much do we owe you?
Oh, no. I won't take...
Well, but you required this to survive. Isn't that what you do?
He shrugs. 3 L's is fine.
Of course.
Something. Get to Boldhome as quickly as you can, though. The
We will.
road's not safe.
Thank you very much.
May the blessings of Arnalda and Orlanth be with you. May they smile upon you for your generosity and keep you safe, you and yours.
The Lord of the Middle Air never leaves me. At least that's what my wife says. Now,
We should be going.
you should.
Yeah.
He doesn't shoo you out, but he helped. Back at the stop that the rest of the group make, I would love if our characters, actually the players, because the characters aren't allowed to make rolls, just the players, at least as far as I know. I would like them to give me, I would take scan or listen for that matter, because this is also both visual and audio.
That would be a 91 over 42.
Lordy, you do not hear or see it. Very good.
Not so much.
All right, so I used listen, and I got a 46 under 50.
Okay.
I got a 2 under 25 for scan or under 35 for listen.
Okay. So you watch it happen like directly as it happens, Faisal. The rope bonds that are on this lunar priestess, you watch her sort of flex in a really strange way, and you see her working her wrists out of the bonds. And it's subtle. And Finn's perceptions are like watching something afar, or maybe he's like,
There's mushrooms over there. Check those out. They don't grow. Those don't grow down in the valley. That's only up in the hills.
right, there's enough slack like in the rope that what she's doing doesn't like, it doesn't reveal any tension or any stress on the line. So it's like Finn doesn't even notice. And you realize that she's just like a moment from getting loose.
Going to call out, she's getting loose, and try and grab onto her before she can pull the gag off or anything of the sort.
Okay. I love this for you.
Hate it when you say that.
It's such a special time. So what is your dexterity?
My dexterity is 16.
So we'll go in dex order based off for actions, and then eventually we'll see if it needs to delineate into strike ranks. I don't think it necessarily will, but if she beats you on dexterity initiative, then it's game on. All right, so your dex is 16, and her dex is 16. So I think what we'll do, in the spirit of, is we will have what we call a good old-fashioned roll-off. And that roll-off will be with the appropriate type of die, which is a D12, because I say it is.
Okay.
So roll a D12.
6.
Okay, I got a 4. So you go first. You're going to have one action to attempt to get this thing on lockdown, because her action will be to free herself from her bonds. And then it'll be a pretty simple action to get her gag out. And then, well, things change. So how would you like to handle it?
So I see her working loose, and I'm just going to jump forward and grab both of her wrists in both hands and try and wrap the rope back around them
Okay,
while yelling for everyone else.
sure. So when you spring into action after calling out that she's getting loose, obviously, Alara, you'll get alerted to that happening because you're standing right there. You just didn't see it. Finn, you're going to act last, if at all, in this first round because you were literally staring at mushrooms.
No, I understand. Yeah.
So I am going to make that a contested roll between you and the red woman because I think that would be fun.
Mm-hmm. What kind of roll?
That's a great question. It's an excellent question. What kind of roll? I think it's a grapple roll.
Is it great? That's just what I wanted it to be.
Well, I mean, you're not like taking your sword out and going to go to town on this lady.
No, because she doesn't have a weapon. I can't take my sword out.
Right. No, you can't. Isn't that interesting? It's almost as if someone planned this so that way you couldn't actually fight her because of the geese you have. Man, people got it out for you. I don't know what's going on. And of course, it had to take place when Vargas was gone. Why wouldn't it? So you have to make a successful attack roll, and you also have to make a successful strength versus strength roll. So start with the attack roll first, and remember that you can be divinely inspired before you make this grapple roll. If, say, maybe you somehow don't have points in grapple.
Yes, I would like to be divinely inspired. Grappling is not my strong suit.
I don't believe that. So how would you, what rune would you like to call on for runic inspiration?
So could I use my water rune for speed of movement and flexibility in making this happen?
Yeah,
Getting
I think
creative.
so.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's for, right? Perfect example is exactly what it's for. So I think that Faisal deciding to flow as if they are water and flow over her to prevent this from happening is a good inspiration. Now you have to roll under your water rune.
Okay.
And see what you get.
Okay, that is a 50 under my water rune of 70.
Okay. So that's going to add plus 20% to the next skill roll you want to intend to make. So that would be grapple. And so you roll with the augmented skill now.
Okay, so that gives me now a 45 in grapple. Okay, and that is a 5.
A 5 is a very good roll. You're going to get something fun. Okay. So you move. And when you do, you move as if you are water. Your body ripples through the air and you grab her wrist in one hand. Now, Faisal's reasonably large by comparison, right? So the Lunar Priestess size is 11. And so Faisal's larger than them. And so you get a hand around her wrist and then you sort of get your index and middle finger around another portion of it. And you still have time to grab the rope. And now what I want you to do is make an opposed strength roll with me to see if you can actually prevent her from getting her arms free.
That is a 90, so that would be a no.
So she failed too. So what I'll say is you have the rope, you have her in hand, but she is not. You haven't bound her back up. And now she's going to get her action. She doesn't have any weapons on her. She has no armor. One thing she does have, rune magic. And the thing about rune magic is it goes first, like in the stack. All right, opposed power roll.
32 versus 60.
Okay, that's good. She looks you in the eye, and when she does, her eyes become solid, white, milky discs. And she says, "The seven mothers speak to us all. Can you not hear them, child?" And you get an overwhelming sense that something is trying to mess with your mind. I'm just going to say that it was really, really good that you you beat her on that. I want to give Alara an opportunity to do something to sort of see if she can shut that down before it starts. Because I know she's going to react to it. and I know she's going to want to make a difference. So, Morgan, what do you think Alara would do? You've seen Faisal call out that there's a problem, try to grab the priestess, and then the priestess utters something to her, and you can see that her hands are trying to work free.
How close am I to them?
I mean, within a movement rate of 8 or 9, you could easily move and still act
okay.
if you need to. Yeah.
So while the priestess is distracted, trying to take down Faisal with some mind magic, I will stride up behind her and smack her in the side of the head with my axe.
Okay, so I just
with the flat side, not the I'm going to take her head down side.
I understand that. I understand that. But I want you to understand that you are attacking an unarmed opponent. And there is a thing called honor. It does exist. I'm not saying you can't do it, but I am saying that you're attacking somebody that's unarmed. You make that choice. Yep. Totally fine with me. So go ahead and make an attack roll.
All right. So then I got a 65 over 48.
Okay. So you swing, and there's a big rush of air. That is certainly something that everyone is going to notice. And you can't really swing that sort of an axe and not have it be noticed, even if it's, the blunt end of it, or the sort of back end of the axe to try to knock somebody out. I'm going to give Finn an action, and then we're going to have to do something important. But go ahead, Finn.
All right. Well, then, definitely gag back in or rope around her neck taut. Because there's more than... You know what? Let's just go with that, because I ain't going to fiddle with her mouth and face right now. So I'm literally just going to double loop that rope around her neck, put one foot against the small of her back, and lean in close to her ear while I tighten it.
Okay, so I think you can definitely roll runic inspiration for this.
Absolutely.
But you'd have to pick the rune. And then I'm going to give you a bonus based on the fact that you have basically a piece of equipment, of a rope, and it's already attached to her.
Fantastic. And I'm going to, this is dark, but I'm going to use my water rune, because I want to invoke that airless feeling that you would get at the bottom of the river when you are out of breath. I want that burning lungs feeling that the river or the lake gives you.
Okay, we're certainly stretching credulity, but I'm going to allow it based on the maximum game fun.
Okay. 31 under 7.
Okay, so it's 20% to the added skill. We'll give you 10 for the rope. So if you're going to make a grapple roll, you're going to be up 30. So if you have base and grapple, that's 55.
Alrighty. That is a 49 under 55.
So you win the grapple roll against her, but now to actually get it to sink, you need to make a strength times 5 roll against her.
Okay, and my strength times 5. Okay, so that is an 18 under 65.
Okay. So Faisal, you're trying to get a hold of her hands, and she says something, she pulls the rope from her mouth and she says something strange. And then there's this rush of air next to you as enraged Alara swings on this priestess who clearly attempted some sort of strange lunar magic on you. And then just as you see her reaching to do the next thing that she wants to do to you, out of nowhere, Finn appears and loops the rope that he has in his hand around her neck, and he uses his body weight to pull her back, and she is forced arched back, and you watch the air get basically squeezed out of her open mouth, and you can hear her in serious distress. She's grappled now, which means she has to beat a strength roll to get out of it. And what I'd like to know, just sort of freeform, is, are the players going to continue to subdue her?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to definitely nod to Faisal to finish tying her hands. And While her ear is next to my mouth here, I'm going to... I think you have mistaken my leniency for softness. And I warned you. I could gut you like a trout right now.
Yeah, I mean, all you're getting from her is just like half sputters of air.
Oh, I know. I'm keeping a very close eye. And as the moment Faisal is done, I loosen the ropes. But only enough so that she can breathe.
Faisal, you're securing her now?
Yes, as quickly as possible, because I want Finn to stop pulling on that rope because I'm worried it's going to injure her.
Okay. So it's about that time that Lysana and Vargas make their way back from the inn.
What the hell is going on here?
Oh, she must have talked. Did she say words, Finn?
Finn looks past the priestess's head. Actually, she went a little further than that. She decided to make free with her hands. She decided to say things to Faisal. Are you okay, Faisal?
Yes, I'm fine. Thank you for asking. Shake my head a bit. Not a very pleasant woman, is she?
No. Put the gag back in her mouth.
Already done.
Bring me the fish bag.
To point out that, yes, keeping her alive is absolutely a good idea, but one does not need hands or a tongue to live.
No.
We're not cutting off her hands or her tongue.
No.
Tie her hands behind her back. I will carry her.
And on that note, we're going to call this episode to a close. So the group is making its way to Boldhome. It's had a little fun with the Lunar Priestess, and we've all certainly learned something new today. So I want to thank you for listening. I hope you're enjoying our return to RuneQuest with adventures in Dragon Pass, and we'll see you next episode.